Today, we'll be ranking the top 25 strongest characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. We'll begin with some of the most underrated characters in the show, and by the end of the video, we will rank some of the most controversial battles the Jujutsu Kaisen fandom has been arguing about for years. Are you Team Gojo or Team Sukuna? Are you Team Jogo or Team Toji? Are you Team Yuki or Team Yorozu? Let's find out if by the end of the video, we can change your mind about some rankings. Just a quick note before we begin. This video takes into account only characters and forms up until the very end of the original Jujutsu Kaisen manga, so no characters and forms from JJK Modulo will be included, since that manga is still in very early stages, and thus has quite some road ahead before we can power scale it. When the manga progresses further, we can do a similar video, including that part as well. And with that being said, number 25, Aoi Todo, the Clapping Sorcerer. Aoi is an exceptionally powerful sorcerer, undoubtedly one of Jujutsu High's strongest students. He obtained the rank of a grade 1 Jujutsu sorcerer as a student, despite coming from a non-sorcerer family. Aoi's innate technique is called Boogie Woogie, and it allows him to switch the positions of anything with cursed energy within his range with a clap of his hands. He can change himself out with the location of another person, or switch two different parties other than himself as well. Though a clap is required to trigger the ability, he does not have to clap both of his hands specifically, as Todo is shown triggering Boogie Woogie by clapping Mahito's hand with his own. This ability is insanely powerful, especially when compared with another sorcerer to aid him in battle, as it becomes incredibly disorienting to fight against, especially when adding Todo's IQ of 530,000, as claimed by him, of course. But even stronger than Todo is this random comedian. Number 24, Fumihiko Takaba, the failing comedian. His curse technique is called Comedian. When Fumihiko thinks of something he's certain will be funny, it becomes reality. It's a technique with enough potential to oppose even Satoru Gojo, as stated by the narrator of JJK. But Fumihiko is utterly clueless of his own power. It can even manifest phenomena in the form of comedic scenarios that can pull in others and compel their participation. The technique even integrates others' thoughts as feedback, a form of soul resonance. Comedian requires absolute assurance and confidence to activate. Any detriment to Fumihiko's belief in his abilities will prevent the technique from working. Fumihiko also boasts impressive levels of cursed energy that flare up enough for Reggie and Hazanoki to be on guard when he was only going to tell a joke. When Fumihiko first attacked Hazanoki, his cursed energy increased dramatically, and Reggie took note of the dramatic shift in output. Fumihiko's reinforced attacks were able to knock Hazanoki through several buildings. Plus, even though Fumihiko may not seem like a fighter, he's exceptionally adept at close quarters combat. He was able to overpower Hazanoki with an expertly performed surprise dropkick. In their next exchange, Fumihiko parried his opponent and landed a blow from behind, before following up with a powerful roundhouse kick. Later, toward the end of their battle, Fumihiko was easily able to avoid Hazanoki's punches after covering himself in onkake sauce with his technique. This was only 1 out of 4 insanely controversial rankings we have in this video, and the next ones are even crazier. Also, if you stick till the end of the video, I'll be sharing an interesting fact about Gojo versus Sukuna that 99.9% of people did not know, and believe me, it's a game changer when ranking them. Number 23, Choso, the Big Brother Curse. He and his two brothers, Kechizu and Eso, are incarnated cursed womb death paintings number 1 through 3. Choso initially sided with Kenjaku's alliance with Mahito until he discovered one of the curse user's past identities was the cruel father of the death painting wombs, Noritoshi Kamo. He also found out that Yuji Itadori is another relative of Kenjaku's and has aligned himself with his new younger brother, Yuji Itadori. The Kamo ancestor controlled by Kenjaku mixed his blood with the human and cursed spirit that resulted in the death painting wombs. This allowed Choso to inherit blood manipulation and train it to its fullest extent, an ability passed down in one of the 3 great families, and arguably one of the strongest curse techniques out there. Choso is a master, constantly using this technique to manipulate his own blood, and utilizes it in nearly every facet of his combat arsenal. Like Eso and Kechizu, Choso's blood is also poisonous. It takes effect fairly quickly and drains its victim's stamina, causing them to soon find themselves short of breath. Uraume's ice formation technique was even forcibly disengaged when the poison took effect on them. Naoya was also wounded by Choso, and his body began to reject the incarnated cursed object's non-human blood, causing him to vomit. Choso has existed for 150 years, and one of his greatest weapons is his incredible level of wisdom. His mastery over blood manipulation has allowed Choso the freedom to experiment and utilize its ability in ways that are all unique to him. He applies the technique in many different ways during battle to swing the tide in his favor, with one of the strongest abilities he has being the piercing blood, an attack that is said to move with supersonic speed. Number 22. Dagon, the Water Disaster Curse. Dagon was a special grade curse with a dangerous ability to generate and control water. Even when docile, Dagon could easily dispatch dozens of weak non-sorcerers by using water to devour them all at once, consequently digesting and converting their flesh into cursed energy. However, he was vulnerable while alone and couldn't stand up to strong sorcerers like Nullification Zenin. Dagon was far more powerful in his evolved state, in part due to his heightened intelligence and more physically imposing shape. He could generate water on such a scale that Maki claimed it far outclassed Max Elephant. Naobito and Nanami working together couldn't exercise Dagon as quickly as it would be expected from two grade 1 sorcerers. Naobito recognized that Dagon had increased his cursed energy to immense levels and had access to a wide array of techniques. Dagon's Jujutsu was only overcome by Naobito's speed until the cursed spirit created an opportunity to unleash his domain expansion. Dagon's domain expansion included a can't-miss attack that quickly overwhelmed his trio of opponents. While Naobito was able to weather the initial storm, Dagon recognized his opponent's talent and used intelligent maneuvering to get around his defenses. After Megami entered the fray and expanded a domain of his own, Dagon had to fight 4-on-1 without his domain's guaranteed hit. Maki and Naobito were unable to deal any significant damage while fighting Dagon together, and the sorcerers had to resort to trying to flee the domain. Ultimately, even though incredibly strong, he is obviously no match for calamities like that of Toji, who made light work of the cursed spirit. Number 21. Takako Uro, the Weather Sorcerer. Uro's curse technique is called Sky Manipulation, and it grants her the ability to control the sky like a tangible surface. By grabbing hold of and pulling the surrounding atmosphere as if it were a solid sheet or cloak, Takako effectively controls space, akin to how a lens creates distortion. She casually uses this to levitate and to cloak her nude body as an alternative to clothing. In battle, Takako can defend by distorting the shape of her opponent's attacks. While the surfaces she controls can't crush her opponents directly, Takako can break the surface of the sky like a thin layer of ice and hit her target with a consequent impact. This allows her attacks to slip past her opponent's guard and generate massive destruction. Takako possesses the ability to cast domain expansion as well, but the details of her innate domain and her can't-miss function are entirely unknown. When she used it at the same time as Yuta and Ryu, the barrier came apart before any of their domains were fully realized. She, alongside Uro, were enough to put Yuta a bit of a challenge, as a further testament to her strength, even though Yuta was not going all out. Number 20. Ryo Ishigori, the Discharge Sorcerer. As his nickname suggests, his curse technique is called Discharge. Ryu can shoot directed blasts of cursed energy from his cannon-shaped hair. He's the only sorcerer that can still release the same amount of power regardless of if his curse technique is activated or not. Ryu's signature attack is a directed beam of hyper-concentrated cursed energy called Granite Blast. At full power, it packs enough devastating power to decimate several city blocks. Just like Uro, Ryu possesses the ability to cast domain expansion, but the details of his innate domain and his can't-miss function are entirely unknown. When he used it at the same time as Yuta and Takako, the barrier came apart before any of those domains were fully realized. He possesses extraordinary amounts of cursed energy that far exceed the level of most sorcerers. High volumes of raw cursed energy are needed to fuel his immense output, indicating that he possesses large reserves of it, placing him easily in the special grade level. Ultimately, however, he proved to be no match for Yuta, even though he had the help of Uro when fighting him. Even more than that, my guy really thought he could take on Sukuna, but of course he got compensated for that by being turned into slices for daring to challenge the king of curses. Someone who managed to survive against both Sukuna and Gojo, on the other hand, is our next character. Number 19, Miguel, the Dancing Sorcerer. Even though this guy was racially motive attacked by Gojo through one of the nastiest punching combos I've ever seen in anime, he nonetheless survived not only the encounter with Gojo, but also came back to fight and survive against 20-Finger Sukuna. His curse technique is called Prayer Song, in which, by dancing to a beat etched into his body, Miguel can expel curses and strengthen his physical abilities. This allows him to buff himself and debuff his opponents without the use of a domain. In the past, he also possessed the Black Robe rope, a curse tool that can disrupt and cancel out the effects of curse techniques. The rope burns away the more it's used, and Miguel no longer has any left after Gojo Satoru took care of it within a few seconds. I guess that's what happens when you fight against a calamity like Gojo, huh? For his performance on December 24th, 2017, Miguel was recognized as the MVP of the Night Parade of 100 Demons. Satoru decided Miguel was good enough to recruit and was used to train his prized pupil in order to hone Yuta's boundless potential. Following his return from Kenya, Yuta was immensely more powerful than before he left. It's very likely Miguel's training had a lot to do with Yuta learning to better control his vast cursed energy. Naturally, a sorcerer who survived against both Gojo and Sukuna, even though being no match for either, deserves to be placed higher than Uro did. That not even lasted a minute against him. Number 18, Naoya Zenin, the sorcerer turned curse. Naoya was the youngest son of Naobito Zenin and believed himself to be the true heir of the Zenin family. Naoya was also the head of the clan's elite unit of Jujutsu sorcerers, the Hei, just like his father. Naoya possessed the projection curse technique, allowing him to turn 1 second into 24 frames and trace a predetermined set of movements using his field of view as the angle of view. While the technique is active, anything touched by Naoya's palm must abide by the technique's 24 frames per second rule, or they're frozen for 1 second inside an animated frame. After his death by the hands of Maki, he reincarnated into an even more powerful cursed spirit with access to acceleration mode. Naoya's body drew in air through the inlets while he flew around and used thrusting pressure and cursed energy to eject that air for increased propulsion. His body hides its tendrils within its shell and curls up when accelerating toward his top speed, so that very speed won't destroy him. Curling up increases Naoya's toughness, but a binding vow prevents him from being durable outside this mode. Moreover, as a curse, he also has access to domain expansion, in which the domains can't miss attacks are lines of film that enforce the 24 frame per second rule of projection sorcery on a cellular level. Number 17, Mahito, the infant curse. He is an unregistered special grade cursed spirit, and the reason for that is that from the moment of his birth, Mahito showcased such immense growth that there was no time to register him as a special grade. Mahito's curse technique is called idle transfiguration, and it grants him the ability to reshape souls. Doing so allows him to disfigure the body of his victims, heal his own wounds, transform his appendages into weapons, and a variety of other possible transformations. Mahito can even create a clone that may use idle transfiguration on himself, but not on others. When Mahito found the true essence of his soul, he unlocked a new, stronger body. When using it, Mahito is visibly more muscular and monstrous, bearing some resemblance to Hanami. This body is also extremely tough, as shown when Yuji's punches had no effect on him. In order to activate this form, Mahito has to rip his human face off. He can transform back to his original form, either voluntarily or when he sustains heavy damage. Mahito was so powerful in this form that he was said to become a totally different entity from before his transformation. And on top of all of these, he also has a domain expansion called Self-Embodiment of Perfection, in which it creates an environment where Mahito is automatically connected with the souls of anyone inside and is capable of transfiguring them at will. His control over the technique is flexible enough that, much like Satoru Gojo, he's capable of activating it for 0.2 second intervals. And now, it's time to talk about our second controversial ranking in today's video. Who do you think is stronger, Hakari or Uraume? Well, here's how we're going to rank them. Number 16, Kinji Hakari, the gambling addict sorcerer. Hakari is shown as a degenerate gambler who runs an underground fight club. He possesses a unique probability manipulating curse technique related to pachinko and is considered by Gojo and Yuta to be potentially on their level, playing a major role in the Culling Games arc against Kenjaku and Sukuna, noted for his sheer strength, rapid regeneration, and luck-based powers. However, this potential is limited to his luck, and that's why we're not going to place him any higher. You see, in order for Hakari to exert his full strength, he needs luck. For example, while in domain expansion, his most perfected and optimal state is when he hits the jackpot, in which for 4 minutes and 11 seconds, Hakari becomes effectively immortal with automatic reverse curse technique regenerating any injury and infinite cursed energy flowing through his body. When in Restless Gambler, Hakari is on the same level and can keep up with Uraume, but the reason we place her higher than Hakari is because, as we stated, this is conditional on the premise that Hakari hits the jackpot, meaning that if he doesn't, well, he essentially stands no chance against Uraume. Number 15, Uraume, the freezing sorcerer. Uraume was an ancient sorcerer deemed worthy of standing by Sukuna's side. Atsuya Kusakabe, regarded as one of Jujutsu High's strongest grade 1 sorcerers, felt Uraume's sorcery was completely out of his league when they fought in Shibuya. Uraume incapacitated numerous sorcerers, including Kusakabe and Choso, with ease. They could have killed several several Jujutsu High sorcerers if they weren't rescued by special grade sorcerer Yuki at the last moment. Uraume's innate technique gives them the ability to create and manipulate ice. It can range from small to large quantities, depending on the desired utilization. Uraume is also capable of producing positive energy with ease. They were able to regenerate the flesh of their palm that was drilled through by Choso's piercing blood. And now, we've reached our third controversial ranking, which, let me tell you, is even more messed up than the previous ones. Now, why is that? Because it involves 4 sorcerers and not just 2. Let me explain. How would you rank Kashimo, Maki, Jogo, and Toji in terms of strength? Let us know how you'd rank them down in the comments below. But for now, here's how I would do it. Number 14, Maki, the Zenin clan killer. Maki was born with a heavenly restriction that prevents her body from receiving cursed energy, and thus using cursed techniques completely. However, let's just say that her physical capabilities more than make up for it. While awakened, she single-handedly massacres the entirety of the Zenin clan, which comprises of multiple grade 1 sorcerers, as well as being regarded as one of the 3 great Jujutsu families. And yet, that was just the beginning for her, as across the next few arcs, she kept becoming stronger and stronger, reaching a level that was comparable to that of even Toji. But we do place her lower than him, because it was stated that she's comparable to him and not equal or superior to him. Number 13, Jogo, the volcanic curse. Now, this guy was destroyed by both Sukuna and Gojo, but that's because, well, those two were just in a league of their own. No one fighting them really stood a chance to begin with, so we can't really hold him accountable for that. In reality, he's among the strongest cursed spirits in the series, and his difference with other grade 1 sorcerers or even special grade cursed spirits was shown after Dagon was defeated, in which he speed blitzed everyone there, which resulted in the death of Naobito Zenin and the burn of Nanami's half-body, which later made him an easy target for Mahito to finish. He has his own domain expansion, insane speed, tremendous levels of cursed energy, and exceptional knowledge of Jujutsu. But would Kashimo lose against such an opponent? Nah, he'd win. So number 12 is Kashimo, the electric sorcerer. Hajime Kashimo is one of the strongest sorcerers Kenjaku came across 400 years ago. Although Kenjaku considered him inferior to Sukuna, he respected Hajime's strength and invited him to enter a binding vow to participate in the culling game. Even as an elderly man, Hajime could decimate entire battlefields and leave numerous dismembered corpses in his wake. Hajime has such a high degree of skill in manipulating his cursed energy that he was the strongest sorcerer of his era and became one of the strongest players in the culling game without needing to activate his innate technique. Hajime's innate technique reconstructs flesh in order to manifest phenomena of electricity, which he converts from cursed energy. Kashimo's body far surpasses the realm of humans when using this technique, so it can only be used once before his flesh collapses. But having said all that, it wasn't enough to last more than a few manga pages against Sukuna during their encounter. Number 11, Toji Zenin, the sorcerer who left it all behind. As explained to the point of Maki, this guy is a similar case to her, but probably even better. No cursed energy, but an absolute beast nonetheless. He is immensely fast, immensely powerful, and his lack of cursed energy allows for sneak attacks or even evading domain expansions, as his lack of cursed energy causes most domains that have a certain hit rule to completely ignore him and register him as an inanimate object, exactly due to his lack of cursed energy. Even though highly debatable, I would place him above Kashimo. Number 10, Megumi Fushiguro, the 10 Shadows sorcerer of this generation. Megumi inherited the prized 10 Shadows technique of the Zenin clan and is favored by the strongest sorcerer himself. Gojo believes that Megumi could become as strong as he is, and has stated he likely possesses even more skill and potential than Yuji. But the reason we place him above his father, even though during their encounter Toji completely overwhelmed him, is not because of his potential, but because of his immediate power. And this is essentially the ability to summon Maharaga. 8-handled sword Divergent Sela Divine General Maharaga is alone enough to defeat Toji on his own. This monster is not just capable of adapting to every and all phenomena thrown at him, he is also insanely physically gifted and fast to the point that he's over 10 feet tall, has insane regeneration, and even holds the Sword of Extermination, blade attached to its forearm that is enveloped in positive energy, making it especially effective against cursed spirits. But even against non-spirits, this sword still can definitely inflict serious damage. Overall, I don't see how any of Jogo, Megumi, Kashimo or Maki could even think of defeating this monster on their own. Number 9. Yorozu, the obsessive sorcerer. Yorozu was a powerful sorcerer of the Heian era, the golden age of Jujutsu. She made a name for herself in a time period when the strongest fighters boasted incredible curse techniques. During the Culling game, Yorozu was able to fight on nearly even terms with Sukuna after Ryu Ishigori, a powerful sorcerer in his own right, was dispatched instantly by the latter. Their battle was initially competitive, where Yorozu landed several direct hits and withstood the 10 Shadows technique. She displayed the full strength of her construction technique, as well as the ability to expand her domain. Her domain was a mostly blank space, although with several oversized organic structures floating within it that resemble the disembodied brains and ganglia of insects. The sure hit effect of the domain applies to Yorozu's constructed items, particularly her true sphere, hence destroying anything caught in the domain instantly should Yorozu will it. Under normal circumstances, a perfect sphere is thought to be impossible to create. Yorozu was able to do it by shaping it from liquid metal. A true sphere has no contact area and generates infinite pressure as a result, making it untouchable. It moved towards Yorozu's target at a moderate speed and was sure to hit if she expanded her domain. Number 8. Yuki Tsukumo, the 4th special grade sorcerer. Yuki possesses elite combat instincts and is highly talented in Jujutsu, capable of using her innate technique, barrier techniques, and domain expansion. Yuki's innate technique is called Star Rage, and it allows her to grant virtual mass to herself and her Shikigami, Garuda. The mass added to Yuki and Garuda's attacks give them devastating destructive force, capable of effortlessly exercising a special grade curse. She can cast Simple Domain, Reverse Curse Technique, and even Domain Expansion, even though we did not really see her using it to its full extent, as she was ultimately defeated by Pseudo Geto before that. However, during that fight, she displayed and more than proved she was on an exceptionally high level. Number 7. Geto Suguru, the depressed sorcerer. Geto was Gojo's best friend, and the two of them were considered the strongest. However, Geto fell into a depression after seeing the death of Amanai right in front of him, which caused him to snap and fall into such a depression. He went full villain mode, but was later defeated by Yuta Okotsu. His body was ultimately taken over by Kenjaku after that, which resulted in an overall even stronger form of Geto once he reached his prime. His cursed spirit manipulation allows him to control a bunch of cursed spirits. Dominated curses are absorbed into small black orbs that Suguru must ingest orally in order to use. If the difference in grade is more than 2 levels, Suguru can absorb a curse with no consequences. He's also able to absorb other sorcerers' curses as long as he kills the master first. Naturally, since he defeated Yuki, he's placed higher than her. Number 6. Hana Kurusu, the Fallen Angel. The angel's curse technique allows for the extinguishment or the nullification of any and all cursed techniques. Barriers and cursed objects alike are no exception, including special grades like the Prison Realm. Maximum Output Jacob's Ladder is an extension technique that conjures a 4-winged trumpet made of light in Hana's hands, as well as an enormous circle of light in the sky above her. Said circle resembles a magic array that features a heptagram in its middle and several crosses along its periphery. By sounding the trumpet, a massive pillar of light descends from the circle to engulf whatever is below. Any curse technique will be extinguished under the light of Jacob's Ladder, a fearsome ability that could destroy even Sukuna, and some fans claim that Sukuna survived only due to plot armor. Number 5. Hiromi Higuruma, the lawyer sorcerer. Hiromi possesses a curse technique that allows him to conjure a large Shikigami called Judge Man. His domain expansion is called Deadly Sentencing. Hiromi's innate technique is linked to his domain expansion by default. This domain does not use a guaranteed hit. Instead, anyone inside is simply forced to follow its rules. Violence is not permitted in the domain, and anyone who tries to engage will be returned to their podium. Inside the courtroom, Judge Man floats behind Hiromi, who acts as the prosecution. Hiromi's opponent is the defendant, and Judge Man knows everything about everyone inside the domain. Both the defendant and the prosecution have just one chance to make a statement before Judge Man delivers a verdict. The defendant has 3 options: silence, confession, and denial, after which Hiromi has a chance to offer his rebuttal based on the evidence he was given. All of these rules must be explained as per a binding vow on the domain. A guilty verdict can result in Judge Man confiscating their ability to control cursed energy, another ability that could kill Sukuna, in which fans state that Sukuna made it out alive only because of plot armor, reverse curse technique, simple domain, and a talent that the narrator stated to rival that of Gojo. I think Higuruma more than deserves to be placed this high on our list. Number 4. Yuta Okotsu, the copy sorcerer. Yuta's innate technique allows him, while Rika is manifested, to copy curse techniques, this, as long as a body part of the individual is consumed by Rika. Rika alone is regarded as the queen of curses. But let me tell you, Yuta is no pushover either. He could fight alone against both Ryu and Uro, both regarded as exceptionally strong sorcerers while also holding back. He had tremendous levels of cursed energy, can use reversed curse technique, and also has domain expansion. He was considered the number 2 sorcerer behind Gojo. And if we consider the later form he took, in which he took over control of Gojo's body, then his power grows even further. Number 3, Yuji Itadori, the left-right good night sorcerer. Now, this form we're considering is Endgame Yuji, of course. In this stage, Yuji has access to blood manipulation, simple domain, reversed curse technique, and cast black flash at will, and even has his own domain expansion, which is basically a mimic of Sukuna's malevolent shrine, at least in practical essence, as it slices anything in its path in a similar way as Sukuna's. Not only that, but Yuji is so exceptionally physically gifted that his speed, strength, and athletic capabilities are on another level than most sorcerers. Most impressively, he was able to withstand multiple slashes from Sukuna and keep going as a testament to his insane durability. Ultimately, he was the one who finished off Sukuna, and there's a reason that in Mojulo, he is considered Earth's strongest. And now, we reach our final controversial ranking of today's video, aka the top 2, which, no matter what I say, I know things are gonna get controversial. We all know who the top 2 are, Gojo and Sukuna. But who should go at number 1 and who should be at number 2? Well, here's all the facts and the arguments both fan bases make. On one side, Gojo facts state the following. Gojo only lost due to plot. Gege stated that Gojo was the strongest, and that Gojo lost to Sukuna only because Maharaga provided the blueprint for how to bypass the infinity. Gojo fans claim that without controlling Megumi's body, and thus using an ability that he does not normally possess, he had no way of defeating Gojo. On the other hand now, Sukuna fans claim that Sukuna was still not in his final form, while also claiming that Gojo admitted superiority to Sukuna at the moment of his death. But ultimately, I guess both sides make valid points here, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask your opinion on the matter. Who do you think is stronger, Gojo or Sukuna? Let us know what you think in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe, and click on this video next for more great anime content. Go on, check it out!